So I grew up in this city which was centered around a steel plant. So my father, my uncle, many of the people whom I knew all worked in the steel plant. Now in a steel plant, unless and until you become an adult, you are not allowed to enter. So once I became an adult, I was very curious because my father used to work there. So I asked my father whether he can take me to the steel plant. And then one day I went to the steel plant. Now inside the steel plant, the most imposing structure you can come across is what we call the blast furnace. In this blast furnace, you are actually melting iron ore. Now iron ore melts at very high temperatures, maybe about 3200 degrees centigrade. So because it is melting at such high temperature, obviously the blast furnace is very hot, but even the entire space around the blast furnace is extremely hot. So if you walk into this blast furnace, very close to the blast furnace, you will be very surprised how people are actually working there, because it is so hot, and then you start imagining that how can these people work in this place for 8 hours a day, continuously for 6 days a week, and for months and years together. In fact, my father used to be one such worker. Now, why do you think those people are working in those conditions? Those conditions are very tough. They are also not very intellectually rewarding because you keep on doing that same repetitive work again and again. Most probably these people were doing such hard work simply because they wanted that money which can be utilized better elsewhere. So work was actually a means to an end. Work was not necessarily an end by itself. So please remember the early example that I was talking about. These two people coming and helping you to push the boulder. Your purpose was going to office. Their purpose was something else. It's the same situation in the steel plant here. The purpose of setting up the steel plant, which means the founder of the steel plant, the CEO, the top management, is good production, because if you produce good quality steel, then you can be a great organization, your customers would be happy, and even the country might be actually benefiting from the self-sufficiency. But the agents who are working there, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have all accepted that as the critical purpose. Most of them probably are working there because they will take that money and take care of their family, take care of their children's education. So you will realize that there is a means end issue here. If I have to draw their charts, you will find that there might be incomplete convergence between principal and agent. So if you are the shift in charge, if you are the manager of the organization, then it might make sense for you to ask that I know there will never be probably such a principal agent convergence. How do I get work done? Because in that particular case, if you want to bring about principal agent convergence, then you might have to put enormous amount of effort, and at some point of time it might just be too much of an effort which will never give you enough returns. So the question here is, in conditions which are physically very demanding, which are not intellectually rewarding, or you get a bunch of people who are probably not that highly motivated to do that kind of work, they are viewing work as a means to an end. How do I get work done? That's something which we need to think for a while.